What's up, guys? My name is TJ Ayupa, and if you're clicking on this video, you're probably thinking about a specialized fuse, whether that's an expert or what have you. I just recently picked up a Fuse Expert 29er from my local bike shop, and when I was checking out the bike online, a lot of the reviews basically had mentioned the fork. Whether that was they wanted a better fork spec'd on the bike for that price, or they were having issues with the RockShox Gold 35 RL that was spec'd on the bike. Now, just to give you a little background on what I was riding, I was previously riding a 2018 Trek Stash 5, which is their lowest spec for the Trek Stash 5. That one came with a Manitou machete, I believe it is. 130 mil fork, something like that, I believe. But it's basically an entry-level fork. Rode great, rode smooth, had no issues with it at all. When I upgraded to the Fuse Expert, it came with a supposedly better fork, 35 millimeter stanchions, higher price point, and supposedly a smoother ride. But like I was saying previously, the reviews on Specialized website basically say that the bike is awesome, the fork sucks. Whether that is, like I said, they wanted a higher spec, or they were having issues with their fork. So I was just riding around my backyard and on my driveway, just messing around, practicing my bunny hops and wheelies and whatnot. And I was resting up against my car, and I think I noticed exactly what they're talking about. Now, when I took this bike out on the trails, it felt really stiff. The air pressure is the same as the Manitou on the Stash 5, but it felt really stiff. And I noticed the fork, whereas on the Trek Stash 5, I didn't notice the fork at all. It just felt great. So I'm going to attempt to show you guys what I'm talking about. So hopefully if you're looking at an expert and you're looking at this fork, you can kind of gauge what might be wrong with it, or maybe you can call me crazy. Let me know in the comments below. But let's start out with this Trek Stash 5. All right, so here we are at the Trek Stash 5. Once again, it is a Manitou machete fork here, entry-level fork from Manitou, but it rode great. So the fork is set up for a rider approximately 205 pounds, which is me. It has Leah, my girlfriend, on it. She's approximately 130 pounds. So the fork should be pretty stiff, but I'm going to attempt to show you guys at the beginning of the travel, this fork seems to be very smooth. And it makes no noise. So we're going to go ahead and have Leah show that now. Just rock back and forth on it for you. Just rock. So if you see how you break the initial tension on the fork, and now it is silent and smooth. Again, that's a 205 pound setup, or, the fork is set up for a 205 pound rider, and a 130 pound rider is on it. So it's very smooth. It's not diving or anything like that. Great. All right, so this is the Fuse Expert, and this is the RockShox 35 Gold RL, whatever it is. 35 millimeter stanchions, supposed to be a budget all-mountain enduro fork. So now, same setup. I'm a 205 pound rider approximately. This is set up for me. Same rider on the bike. Now, what I'm going to attempt to show you might be kind of hard to pick up on camera. I'm going to have you turn the wheel a little bit to the right. There you go. Okay, so basically what is going to happen is the initial travel in the fork is going to be sticky. It's going to make some noise, and it's basically going to just not be as smooth as possible. So I'm going to attempt to have Leah show you that right now. Don't dive at that button. There you go. So if you can see that, keep going. It basically gets locked there. It stops suddenly. And that is exactly what I'm feeling out on the trail. And trust me, when you're riding in the actual trail, it feels a lot worse than that. If you can hear it, you can kind of hear it making noise too. Maybe not anymore. We kind of broke that tension, but I'm going to have Leah do one more thing while she's on the bike. Push it as hard as you can so you can get as much travel. Basically break it loose, and then we're going to go back to, just the rocking. All right, so now it's basically broken loose. It should be as smooth as it's going to be. So now let's go back to the rocking. A little bit better, but it still basically gets stuck. Now, according to some of the reviewers on the website, they basically mentioned that the fix was that RockShox or Specialized, whoever it was, said that these lower portions were built out of spec. Now, I'll have you hop off the bike. So if those are built out of spec, which I'm gonna call my local bike shop tomorrow and show them this or show them the bike, but this bike was built in January 3rd of 2020. So now I don't know, production runs on these bikes or anything like that, but basically what I'm trying to make this video for is to show you guys, if your bike was built around that date, odds are that the lowers on the bike are out of spec. So I don't have a ton of experience on mountain bikes. This is only the second real mountain bike I've owned, but I know that on the Trek Stash 5, which is a lower component spec bike, the fork I never noticed. I set it up once, I dialed it in, and it rode great on the trail. This Specialized, the bike feels great, but I notice the fork every single time I ride the bike, especially when I'm hitting little side hits or I'm going over roots. Something where it's frequent and small bump compliance is basically non-existent. The fork feels sticky, it feels hollow, and it just does not feel right. All right, guys, so I just thank you for watching the video. Again, hopefully this helps if you are looking for a fuse expert or if you recently purchased one. Again, like I said, I'm not an expert by any means, pun intended, but I know that on the Stash 5, the fork was set up once, felt great, and on this bike, it feels sticky, hollow, and cheap. Now, I don't think it's a cheap fork. I don't think that it's a bad fork, but feels stiff. You know, when you're riding, it feels stiff, but it doesn't feel right. So I'm gonna call my local bike shop tomorrow. I thought that this would make kind of a cool video in case you're looking at this bike. Otherwise, it's a fantastic bike. I absolutely love it. But once again, thanks for checking it out. If you like this video, subscribe, hit the like button. And again, check out my other videos. I'm gonna be doing a lot of mountain bike videos as well as car videos. All right, my girlfriend was jumping around in the back of that last video. So again, check out my other videos. Normie's Guide to Car Modification. Just posted episode 1 maybe a week ago. I'm gonna be posting episode 2 here shortly. Script is already written. A lot of valuable information. And again, mountain biking has become a passion of mine, so expect a lot more of those videos as well. Thanks for tuning in, and hopefully guys stick around. Bye-bye.